Hello! And day 20 has finally arrived. A day that I have been looking forward to since the end of last month when I decided to do this thing. Specifically because I have really been wanting to open this toy for several weeks now. That being Transformers Legends Leader 6 Shot. I've got the Hasbro version already, but yeah, I did really want the Takara one. And let's just do a really quick look at the box here. As you can see, they're referencing the original G1 6-shot box in Takara with just how they designed this thing. With the exact same box art pose and a similar layout and everything. So yeah, let's get this guy open and take a look at him. Because yeah, I've been looking forward to this guy for quite some time now. And pulling the box open, we can see a few things. We can see the instructions / Legends comic. And we can see a tray with a bunch of stuff on it. We've got 6-shot in his jet mode, as well as his twin guns and his head. Which, unlike the Hasbro version, turns into just a small 6-shot. So, let's liberate this guy from his packaging and take a closer look. Now, starting out with head mode, right away, let's take a look first at the Hasbro version of this thing. Which, yeah, is very unpainted and is specifically sculpted to be modeled after Chrome Dome's friend, who 6-shot later turned into a suicide bomber. Yeah, Japanese G1. But let's compare this to the completely retooled Takara version of this mold, where they retool him into just 6-shot. Look at all that paint detail. Look at it. It is gorgeous. And just to take an even closer look at the head here, zooming in, we can see that, yeah, the detail is very good on this thing. It looks gorgeous. And flipping him around to take a quick look at his head here, we can see that, yeah, it's actually a very different head than the Hasbro one. They did a whole bunch of retooling here, and just to showcase that, you can see that the Hasbro one has very different sculpting here. Yeah, like, huge difference between these two. The only real negative that Takara's has here is that they did not actually paint the eyes all the way in. Like, they left a bit around it for some reason, so it's a slightly incomplete paint app. But otherwise, this thing is gorgeous. And more importantly, they didn't slather the head in paint, so there's no dangers of the white eventually chipping off like it does on the Hasbro version, inevitably. Well, it hasn't on mine, but it's probably going to happen. And seeing as how this guy is a hex changer and has 6 modes, I'm not going to take too long between all of them or really show the transformations. I'm just going to quickly look at them all, and then I'm going to do a comparison with the Hasbro one at the very end once I hit robot mode. So let's start with the spaceship mode, which, yeah, it's a standard 6-shot spaceship. Jumping ahead slightly, I'm going to go into the famous upside down submarine mode, which, yeah, is a nice upside down submarine. Jumping further down in the evolutionary-revolutionary scale, we have the wolf mode, which is super bestial and a bit of a revelation transformation-wise. Even though no tanks are necessary, sometimes you get stuff like an armored tank mode, such as the one right now. And of course, once you get going on the puns, it won't be long until you carve out something like a bit of just an armored, drivable 4-wheel vehicle. But, of course, what you all really want to see is robot mode. And robot mode is where 6-shot finally truly finishes delivering, as with the resounding cry of, "Head on!" You plop the head in and lock it around him. And here we have 6-shot, the Takara edition. Now, the first real big difference, and this is where the head pays off. Specifically, they didn't just retool the actual head on this guy, they retooled the helmet as well. And the results are really spectacular. Just to illustrate here, to compare this to the Hasbro toy, the thing that the Hasbro toy does that the Takara one doesn't is that, well, it has a giant forehead and a giant helmet, which means that the head kind of looks tiny. Takara's, on the other hand, changes the shape around a bit so that it looks more like a properly proportioned head, which really enhances the toy a lot. And just comparing the two of them here, just next to each other, with the light and midley, there's not a huge difference you can see, but you can tell right away that the greens are completely different shades. There's also no stickers on Takara's version, which is cool. And a lot of little touches in the paint, which are great. Like, for instance, painting the bottom of the wolf arms white so that you get a more fleshed arm compared to, say, the Hasbro toy. And just little things like the different paint on the shoulders, differently coloring the legs there so they're more uniform. And overall, yeah, it definitely has an end result of looking pretty spiffy there. There's also the element, too, of even looseness. Like, looking at the Hasbro one here, one of the big issues I have with it is the legs are, well, a little floppy. There's no ratcheting in the legs, so that is a bit of a pain. Compared to Takara's, however, there is way more friction in these legs. They are definitely nicer done than the Hasbro one. And that is definitely a big plus, I have to say. So overall, you end up with just an overall much nicer looking six-shot toy. It's all very subtle stuff, but yeah, there's a lot of differences between the two, and Takara's is definitely the nicer looking figure, if only just because of the head. Because, yeah, that head sculpt difference does a world for this toy and makes it look far, far nicer. So, with that said, I guess that's pretty much all the major talking points I wanted to hit on this. The last Legends toy that I have for opening for 2016. For 2017. Unless I get some more before New Year's or something like that, which probably won't happen. So, with that said, this is Tekno signing off with only 5 days until Christmas Day. I'm leaving that in.